Welcome to Money on Tap. Money on Tap, your personal finance headquarters, where we bring out the professionals' experience and some fun in what we call three-dimensional investing, utilizing insurance, brokerage, and fee-based planning. That's what we do on this show. We look at all sides of the issues, and we bring a fully independent planning perspective to the table. Welcome back. We are so glad to have you here with us today at Money on Tap. Again, my name's Seth Krussman.
And I'm Ben Brayshaw.
You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info at yourmoneyontap.com. And it is going to be some fun here today. Folks, if you're new, welcome. If you've been around the block a couple of times with Ben and I, we are so glad to have you back. And we appreciate you and the calls that you bring in and the connections and the communication. We have so much fun communicating and connecting with you guys. And that's why we do this.
We like it. We like it.
There was total, absolute confidence in your voice right there, Ben.
No, it's fun. I mean, you know what? People come into the office and it's great. We meet people that are listeners and we've helped a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So that's really where I find the joy. I think that's the most fun. But I think this show keeps us on our toes a little bit sometimes, Seth. I'm kind of excited for today's show because this is a good one. You want to introduce?
Yeah, sure. We're going to be talking about that old beat up piece of life insurance or annuity that you have out there. Yeah, your jalopy of a program that you've had it around for the last 5, 10, 20 years, however long you could make that thing work. And now
it usually starts, Seth, with a story about an evening at your home with a life insurance salesman.
Oh, gosh.
It usually turns out to be a memory that no one has seemed to forget. It's like you remember your child's birth and then you remember the life insurance sale.
Oh, man. I so wish we could go ahead and attach some kind of like a volatility index to people's blood pressure as we say those words or think about those memories. Oh,
but hey, we're gonna give you guys some hope today. That's what I'm excited for. But before we get moving into that, Seth, we have money in the news.
I love that intro. That's so good. We get the music. We get the timing, we get the fun. We're going to be talking about, hey, what are the articles that we have coming across our desk as financial planners and is interesting to us. And we think, you know what, we're just going to take a minute here, do a little bit of a deep dive onto some money topics. For starters, GM plans to hire 3,000 new workers, but they're, that's not the everyday story where GM comes out and says we're going to hire 3,000 more workers, period. But it's even better than that. These workers are going to be bolstering its engineering and software development for the EV car. The EV car. Everybody vehicle? Is that what it is?
No, it's electric.
Oh, electric. Thanks. Yeah, this is beautiful to see. If you are a fan of American steel, American car, this is really great to see. I love GM, I love Ford, I love all of these vehicles and manufacturers out there. And one of the things that is really hot right now, of course, is the electric vehicle or the self-driving vehicle, and it has put them in a place where they got to figure it out. And their solution really of opening up this platform to bring in new talent, and this is from Ken Morris, GM's vice president, is that they figured it out how to quickly adjust and make this happen and move faster. And one of the things that they're doing is they're opening it up. The architecture is they're going to bring in talent from all across the world. Now, I'm not necessarily as much of a fan of GM and
no, I'm a fan, buddy. I drive a Chevy truck. I like my truck.
Oh. Well, I'm just going to put an all-American stamp on that baby and say
I'm all American, baby. I've got two Chevy vehicles. I like Chevy.
I feel like I'm supposed to disclose what mine are, and one is Chevy, and
that's all right.
The other's another. It's another thing.
You don't have to talk about talk about your Lamborghini, Seth. That's okay. No one cares.
2 other vehicles are far from a Lamborghini. But do you want to, if you were to be given the offer from GM right now and say, hey, I like the numbers here. I like the project, love the opportunity. Do you want to move to Detroit?
No.
Okay.
Not in the cards, but neither was it in the article. So, what's interesting, Seth, is all the remote work that they're hiring. They're literally competing against everyone across the globe for the top talent. Matter of fact, and this isn't in the article, but GM took a stake in Nikola, which is an electric vehicle company that they took a huge stake in it, which had all sorts of crazy, wild, who knows what's going on with them now, kind of stuff with the owner, the CEO having to step down, and it's crazy. But anyways, they are really aggressively, I guess is my point, going after the electric vehicle location. They want to be a player in this space. They want to launch a number of cars in that. And the thing is they just came out with they just reported a $4 billion earnings profit. So they've got the money to fly with this thing. I mean, they're really aggressively ready to move.
I wonder how much of this is going to come back to, 2 different platforms, let's say, where, you've got the Microsoft type of a platform or the Apple platform. And there was, really that's kind of what it was, or in terms of owning the road, and very different models. But I wonder if there's a part of them that are going to be really vying for this piece of industry for the next 50 years.
Oh, yeah. And you just think about, I think about all the phones and everything going on, Seth. I think it's just a matter of time before we're literally just dropping our phone into a tray, and it is the car computer. It is your car. It's a piece of your car. The technology is driven off of that phone. I see that just becoming a major component piece, and I think the technology that they're looking to drive, I have no basis on any of this stuff, but I can only imagine that it's a very radical, kind of deep, like you said, the technology piece, whether it's Microsoft or whoever it is, it's going to be parasitic almost in its connection, I think, with our lives and our world. I don't know. That's
parasitic connection. Ooh, you heard it here, folks. very, very first time. We've got a few of those things out there. As a matter of fact, we've got some. So we got to start time stamping some of these, because we're going to come back and be telling people all about what we said first at Money on Tap. Next, we're going to talk about not first but second. You got it, Ben?
Yeah, I got it. I got it right here. This is a big one here, folks. So this is right out of the Wall Street Journal, and this is from Richard Rubin. And the article's titled, "Some Business Owners Can Avoid Cap on Deductions for State and Local Taxes," Treasury says. That's the SALT tax limitation that was capped at about $10,000 in 2017. It says that the forthcoming rules would sanction state laws that let partnerships, other businesses, deduct all of their state taxes. Now, there's been some workarounds on this that have been successful. Very successful in especially the C Corp area and so forth, and different pieces of people trying to get around this. But the average W-2 employee in person has not been able to manage that, and some of the flow-through has been a problem as well. And they're actually looking at this and promising Steve Mnuchin, who's the Treasury Secretary, he has promised that they're going to fix this problem or alleviate the problem at a small level. Now, for a lot of people, the SALT tax is a very aggressive, Trump administration scenario. It was seen as something that where if you were in a state of high taxes, you could not deduct your state and local taxes. So if your property taxes or any of the state and local taxes you paid could only get deducted up to $10,000. So if you spent over $10,000 on that, you did not get that full deduction. And this was seen as a very aggressive against the Democratic Party play by the Republicans, or at least the Democrats took it that way, because the states that this tax change affected the most were the highest tax states out there, which was California, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, Massachusetts. It hit the blue states the hardest, and it was almost a very aggressively seen play. And so there's some hope inside of the world of taxes where the SALT tax cap will be lifted or alleviated in some capacity, and there is some promise of that potentially happening. Now, whether or not Trump is or isn't our next president, kind of still remains to be seen as they figure out this vote scenario deal, which I think, half the world thinks it's okay, half the world thinks it's not. And if you ask me, I don't care who the final ending person is, as long as we have integrity in our elections. Though I did vote, that is the most important thing out of this. And but this alleviation piece is really very interesting for a lot of people because, for those business owners, there's a lot of workarounds coming here if you didn't have one to begin with. And I think that's the big, hey, we got to wait to see. It's being promised. Nothing here. But you heard it here first to know, be on the lookout for this, because if there is some pullback on the tightening of this rule, it can be a huge tax savings for you if you're focused on this.
You really got into the meat of that, and I don't have a whole lot left to add. Number 3, the iPhone.
I'm excited for the show, Seth. I mean, I think we're both kind of like jumping back and forth because you know what? I think what I'm really excited about is the fact that there's so many people who really need help in this area and they're not getting it. I mean, I've seen more and more of it as people kind of get closer and closer to retirement. So sorry, I'm
No, really, it's great because it's so much more important than the iPhone and how many models of the iPhone are out there. Apple creating many, many more options for us. And it's kind of fun to see trends where what has it been for the last, 5-6 years? It's been, the phone has become the phablet. It's become larger and larger, or the cameras have become better and better. And it's really incredible what they're doing now, like filming feature-length movies with iPhones. I love that commercial. But the smallest one of the group, which that's apparently the next trend, is let's see again how small we can get us. Now to take you back to when we started having our cell phones, do you remember the ones that would fit in the palm of your hand, like a quarter of the size of your hand? They were the tiniest little flip phone you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, no, I still like those.
still use that.
No, I don't still use that. But there is something lost in the convenience of something smaller, that's for sure. And I'm kind of excited for a mini phone. I mean, I don't know if I'm jumping out to get one. Matter of fact, I don't think I'm jumping out to get anything new yet, but it's definitely interesting.
So you're not standing in line for the new iPhone when they release them and signing up for the pre-orders and all that good stuff?
No, I'm not even a 5G. I'm still kind of concerned about this whole weird 5G thing. There's a lot of, Seth, I don't know, maybe I'm falling more into the conspiracy side of the world, but I think I want to, tread lightly in the in the question mark world. I mean, do I think that 5G is something we're all going to have to accept and so forth? I do. I just don't know. I think there's a point in time where there's some problem with the amount of speed that we're trying to push through the atmosphere here. But I don't know. We'll see.
Well, yeah, there's a whole bunch of other topics there. Actually, one of the articles that we did take a pass on was a little bit of a 5G dip and who's doing better in this 5G race right now. And because it wasn't good news, we just left it alone. So,
which is why I'm probably coming from that space right now. Sorry, folks.
And honestly, saying iPhone and Apple a bunch of times on this podcast probably is going to get more people to like us in the long run.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you though, the article's interesting because it says that it's really not much bigger than the iPhone 5, though it seems like it is even.
Yeah,
that was interesting. So, I mean, it's tiny for what you're. I mean, I look at people using these Pro Max things, and I'm like, I might as well just carry an iPad around and hold the thing up to the side of my face and
that's it.
Say hello.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm looking for smaller phones, and this is interesting.
I'm pretty sure you could go back to a previous episode of Money on Tap, and I probably said that. I'm confident I did because that's been my little shtick on these phablets here as I'm trying to reach. I mean, my hand is decent sized hand. And I have a hard time texting one-handed on these things because they're so big. It's like cross the country, mail your thumb like 3,000 miles over that direction to be able to hit that numeric.
Yeah, no, I was thinking about this too. While reading the article, I was thinking about how versatile I have become. And I have large hands. So I was thinking about how versatile I have come to like allowing the phone to slide down my hand to touch the top of it and then somehow work it back up my hand without a second hand.
And I've seen you do that driving down the highway eating Five Guys. I don't know how you do it, Ben. You are incredible.
I'm sure you've seen me do some pretty stupid things, Seth. Thank you. So just keep sharing.
Oh, yeah. Well, hey, I'm going to bring us back down a minute because, you can't have it all. I mean, you get to with us, of course, right? Because that's what we do with three-dimensional investing here on Money on Tap at Brayshaw Financials. You get it all. But apparently in iPhone's world, you just cannot have it all. And with the smaller version, the mini, you are going to suffer, folks, when it comes to your battery. And I know that's been an issue for the Apple products in the past, and might as well just stay consistent with that. So be prepared with a charger at all times.
Price is pretty good, though. I mean, look at this thing. It's $699. I mean, compared to like over $1,000 or $1,000 for the Pro or the Pro Max. I mean, that's a sizable savings. So if you're looking for a quick phone, and most people do carry either an extra battery or something around with them anyways, because they never know how they're using it. I think this is no big deal. I mean, it's got a little bit shorter battery, but if you're really looking for a more, compatible phone just to have on you for the day and you're sitting at your desk, boom, charge the thing.
At that price, we could probably afford to give one of those to each of our listeners that calls us today and asks us about the iPhone. Or maybe not that much. We could possibly
just ask for Seth. Just ask for Seth's extension.
I might actually debate, upgrading and then handing down my phone to the next generation because I've never actually bought a phone for either of my kids.
So just to wrap this up, we got a few seconds left here, but the iPhone mini is only supposed to last about 10 and a half hours, where the iPhone 12 models last about 14. So it's significantly, it's 40% more. That's a big deal. It's worth considering.
That's it, folks. I'm so glad that you brought us back to something that's really important instead of me talking about my kids on here. All right, that's going to do it for Money in the News. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. We'll be talking about trading in that old jalopy, that old insurance policy you've got that's sitting around, not doing you any good anymore. Take a look at the new one, see what we got. We'll be right back. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com.
Hi, my name is Seth Krussman, partner with Brayshaw Financial Group and one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. One of the biggest concerns and largest expenses people face today is taxes. Without thoughtful planning, taxes can destroy future retirement dollars, eliminating the possibility of a timely retirement or dreams of what you want retirement to look like. If you're like most people, you're getting closer and closer to retirement, and you may be wondering if you're taking the right steps. Will my income be enough? Will rising taxes force me to give up my dreams? How does inflation factor into all of this? These are real concerns, and you're not alone. Putting a plan around your financial future is what we do. If you have questions when it comes to your financial security, and if you're looking for a personalized solution, contact us at Brayshaw Financial Group, 855-226-8551. It's time for you to start getting answers to your questions. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, Brayshaw Financial has offices across the country. We'd love the opportunity to show you how we can help. There's absolutely no cost or obligation to meet with us. Call us at 855-226-8551. 855-226-8551.
Now back to Money on Tap with Ben and Seth.
You are listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. We're wondering, is it time for you to trade in your old Jalopy annuity or life insurance policy? Is that what you're driving around in? Do you have this this annuity that's kind of been out there, and you bought this thing or you've been contributing to this thing for years, and you haven't really given it a second thought. It made sense at the time. Well, the wheels may be ready to come off of that. It may have served a purpose at that time to it was your commuter rig, and it was working at the moment. But did you know that you can possibly trade that in?
Seth, it's funny because there's so many people out there that own annuities or life insurance, and there's a lot of people that come in that say, I've had this life insurance policy. My mom bought it for me. My dad bought it for me. It's just got a bunch of cash in it. Yeah, right. I mean, I just don't even know what to do with it. Is it valuable? And then we have the kind of the other piece that is, I bought this annuity from somebody who I haven't heard from in 10 years, 15 years, and I'm not sure what this thing is or what it does.
So common.
It's so complicated, and I don't understand. What do I do? And honestly, the number one question people have is like, how's this going to affect me tax-wise? Like if I do something with this thing and, is there tax implications? Am I going to, how's that going to all come into play? And
fees.
Right? Yeah. I mean, there's just a zillion different questions that people have on these things. And honestly, most of these contracts, especially the annuity side, have almost an unlimited number of variables that if you don't kind of have the background to know what to look for, you kind of have yourself like not able to write. One thing I ask people is, what's the one question I haven't asked that I should ask? And I literally use that from time to time. And I think that's the way with the annuities is that when you contact some of these insurance companies, you don't know what these annuities actually can do or what they're capable of because there's so many distant avenues of things you can potentially do with them to compare. And I'm excited to get into this show because there's a lot of people out there with questions on this stuff that just don't go and talk to somebody about it. So
first off, I want to make clear a couple of things. First of all, you are listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap. Now, why would you want to pick up the phone and give us a call? Send us an email. First and foremost, Ben and I are financial planners. That's what we do. The name of our company is Brayshaw Financial Group, and that happens to be Ben's last name. Coincidence? I think not. But the fact is that this is what we work in all the time. We're not here trying to sell insurance products, or we don't have a bent really on what it is that we do in this financial planning world. We focus on three-dimensional investing. Insurance and annuities are a part of that solution, or what can be a solution for your financial plan. And they might be something that serves a purpose for a point in time, but you've had it for a while, and you really do need to try to understand, does this still work for me today for what I want to do going forward? And in that transition, right, Ben and I get an opportunity to not just wear this hat or that hat. We kind of put them all together to make sure that we're putting you in the best place possible. Now, Ben described an interesting circumstance that we see all the time. Matter of fact, I just had a flyer on my desk here, which was an invitation to go out and eat and listen to a presentation. And when I took a look at that, I was like, oh, well, this is, I see these a lot. But when I took a look at that the person that was presenting, all they did was life insurance. That's all that organization does. So can you guess what you're going to get when you walk out the door of that presentation? Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty common. I mean, there's people that just do one side or another. We call it three-dimensional investing. I've even called it the three-legged stool. And insurance is definitely a piece of the stool that is a big issue. And then there's crossover. People don't really realize that sometimes you have to be securities licensed and insurance licensed to work in some of the insurance products because they have a securities component to them. And then the managed money piece and the fiduciary piece, all of that stuff, it starts wrapping into, this kind of three-legged stool. And we all know a two-legged stool doesn't balance itself. And so it's kind of hard to really have a kind of an unbiased perspective without really being able to provide all the options to a client. And that's one of the things we want to do. And I'm really excited about talking about this one leg of the stool today. And I think that, what people what people first off have is they don't know what they have. They don't know what kind of insurance product they own. Usually there's life insurance, there's annuities, and then there's variables right inside all of those items. You've got whole life, term insurance, index universal life, variable universal life. It's like a litany of
there's a lot of lives in there.
A lot of lives in there. And then you've got the annuity world, and you've got fixed annuities, immediate annuities, equity index annuities, variable annuities. I mean,
I feel like I need a Google Translator or some kind of an app that's going to take everything you just said and spit it back in some recognizable English to me.
Yeah, no, that's
Are you
probably
going to do that?
It's probably clearer in Chinese if I said it. You know, there's just a lot of this stuff that people don't understand. And so what our first offer is today is if you find yourself buried now and you still find yourself buried after this conversation, give us a call. We're happy to talk to you about what you own, see if we can give you some guidance and some understanding. But the first thing we want to kind of cover is the concept that, hey, you have an old life insurance policy, you have an old annuity, you know that they don't fit you. There's nothing about it that makes sense as far as you can tell. And you're thinking about trading in that old jalopy. Seth, what's the one thing about trading in this old jalopy?
Trading. Well, first of all, there's the simple part where I think I want to focus and try to come back to what are some takeaways. We're going to give you some of those takeaways, but the simple part is that you can trade that in. That's possible, right? And especially when we're talking about some kind of a cash value in that, and if it's an annuity, it might have a couple of different components to that. There might be this account value, which is like the true cash value. Or if you're talking about life insurance, it's going to have a cash value to that life insurance. Okay, so well then what do you mean trade it in, Seth? Why would I do that? What would the options be? And the process, if you want to try to capture this tax code out there that's called 1035, would be called a 1035 exchange.
Yeah, and I think that's good. I mean, it's, if you say...
Did I answer your question?
No, you're dead on. I mean...
Okay.
One of the things about this is that the ability to get rid of an annuity and maybe get into an annuity that is more suited for you, whether it's an income, death benefit feature, long-term care feature. All these annuities have all these different riders you can buy out there. You could potentially exchange that, and that 1035 exchange is that thing that allows you to do this without paying any taxes. It allows you to move from point A to point B without paying any taxes because...
So what would be taxable? Let's just talk about that without paying any taxes. Why would there be a portion of this that would be taxable if I just decided, hey, I just want to take the cash value and go buy a car?
Great question. I was kind of running that direction already. So the concept of the first option could be, Seth, right? You put $100,000 in an annuity, okay? And it's a post-tax annuity, something you've done with savings, okay? And now it's worth $150,000, and you decide to liquidate that, okay?
So I've paid I've paid taxes already on $100,000, and then there's this $50,000 that's accumulated there is that the gains or the growth?
Yeah, that's the gains or the growth, but it's not taxed as gain. Now taking age out of the equation here, because if you liquidate an annuity prior to 59.5, you're going to have penalties, okay? Just like an IRA retirement plan would have. But if you take the money out, it's going to be taxed as ordinary income. I mean, if you liquidated it in that scenario, you're going to have a $50,000 gain that's going to be taxed as income, which means that's going to add an income level to you. So if you're already making a decent living, let's say you're making $80,000, $90,000 a year, and you add $50,000, I mean, that's going to be taxed at right now currently around 22% in taxes, not counting maybe penalties if you're under 59.5. So you're kind of looking at some pretty heavy tax burden there, pushing yourself all the way into another tax bracket even potentially.
So whoa, put on the brakes. I don't want to do that, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. But, I like that I've got this money over here. I've accumulated, but maybe what I'm getting off of that is, something around 3% or whatever. If it's a fixed product, something, I don't know, whatever it is. Let's say it's a return scenario, right? I'm not super excited about the return I've been getting off of this, or I have changed
the fees are too heavy or something.
Fees. Yeah, lots of fees. So there's something about this that I'm looking at it. I'm like, gosh, that just doesn't make sense to me. So I've got this path of 1035 that would allow that exchange or that cash value of, say, the original 100 plus the 50,000 that's there to go ahead and relocate from where it's been warehoused over here in this annuity into what are the options? Is that where we're at next?
Yeah, and I think the thing is that with most people, and the reason we're kind of talking kind of around the curve of just like that's everyone kind of does a 1035. For people who own annuities or life insurance, they know there's something complicated about the liquidation, right? They know there's something there. They're not sure what it all is. They know there's surrender fees. They know there's potentially penalties. They know there's taxes. They know there's all these different pieces, and they're just not sure how to handle it. So the government has given us this ability to say you can swap from one item to another. Now, it's important here that we just clarify this. We're going to get into this a little bit more in a bit, but you can go from a life insurance contract cash value to an annuity, and you can go from an annuity contract to another annuity contract, but you cannot take your cash value from an annuity and go into a life insurance contract tax-free. That is the no-no.
Say that again.
Yeah, I'm going to say it one more time. So you can go from a life insurance to a life insurance. You can go from an annuity to an annuity. And you can go from a life insurance to an annuity. But you can't go backwards. You can't go from an annuity into life insurance under the 1035 code.
Even though I don't like that, I still can't do it? That doesn't change it?
That's correct.
Well, I thought that's how it worked. If I don't like something, the rules need to change to apply for me.
Yes, that's a political scenario, Seth. We're not going to go there today.
But there seems to be a lot of rhetoric out there like that, doesn't there?
It sure does. It sure does. Well, and I don't want to go into that too much right now, but the concept is that people know that there's a complication around annuities, and there's no such thing as a good or bad investment. There's only suitable and unsuitable. So if you bought something and you don't like it or you think it's bad, it's probably that it was just unsuitable for you, and then maybe you need to sit down with somebody and figure out how to get yourself into a better, more suitable scenario with the least penalties, issues, and problems. Now, there's a lot of this, Seth. I mean, how many times do we have people walk through the door that say, hey, I bought this thing, and it seemed right at the time. It seemed to meet my goals and objectives, but it no longer does. And that happens not every day, but I would say frequent enough that it's an issue.
Absolutely. That's one of the first things that we highlight here when taking a look at, is a 1030, what are the factors when assessing a 1035 exchange? You really want to look at what are your goals. Okay, first and foremost, I mean, believe it or not, the fees and the process or, the next greatest thing that's crossed your path as far as intriguing or getting your interest and looking like it's a hot ticket, those are not the factors that you need to look at first. Goals, folks. So, before considering, just take a look. What were your goals then? Then that's good clarity for you to take a look back and take a look at what are they currently, and potentially, we want to try to pull this into perspective 5, 10, 20 years, maybe down the road. After that, I would say, really, then our second piece is, what are your fees or what are the limitations? For instance, Ben just described the taxability where you cannot go from the annuity into an exchange to a life insurance product without it being a taxable event. Okay, so we need to kind of understand what are the corridors or what are the paths, what are some of those limitations. But more often than not, if let's just say that this is an annuity, or it is a life insurance policy, when you purchased these, they had surrender fees associated with them or some kind of a schedule like that. And they don't typically last forever. They usually have kind of this reducing fee year after year. Say it's a 10-year surrender fee, year 1 through 2 that you've had this.
So that's a cost I have to pay to get out of the investment. Right.
And frankly, that's usually one of those things on the front side of these that in the past they weren't necessarily, there's a conversation around whether or not those were fully disclosed sometimes. there needs to be full disclosure and understanding around what are the costs to doing anything that you're going to be doing. And if there isn't a full disclosure, a full conversation around that, I usually would advise people to run.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think the thing that our industry does well is we explain the benefits of a lot of things. Like, hey, if you go into this is all the benefits. But you have to look backwards. You really have to dig into what are the costs, what are the fees, even with life insurance companies, you might own a life insurance policy that has a really low insurance cost in an underlying scenario where the amount you pay to be insured by that company is lower than the potential average cost of what maybe you're going into. And you have to take that into account. Even though this thing might have a new bag of tricks, riders, benefits, whatever it's featuring maybe, it could sound great. And it really could be the right thing for you. And sometimes paying more is the right thing. I mean, I think about when every time you have more kids, like you need a bigger and bigger vehicle, right? So you end up paying more and more for the vehicle. Well, that's the right thing sometimes. So, sometimes costs do go up because you have new needs or new goals. And that's a great point.
One of the other things with those surrender fees or those schedules is a lot of the time there's a kind of a hurdle, like a fee hurdle before the product will start really truly accomplishing what was outlined originally by the features and the benefits and everything else. Just the way that the contracts typically work is the fees and the costs are front loaded in those. So taking a look at what the fee situation is, what is it going to cost to get out? All right. And what the new opportunity or the next contract looks like, because there's going to be potentially a whole new set of fees and hurdles and surrender schedules involved with that as well. So be very clear with those things.
As we kind of go into evaluating what you did own, evaluating what you are considering purchasing or maybe moving to versus a liquidation is something that takes a lot of expertise. Okay, and I'm going to kind of go backwards a little bit, because when it comes into evaluating a new investment, one of the things is understanding the financial strength of the company you have and the financial strength of the company you're going into. And those are very, very obvious kind of important things that people look at. The other thing is that, and so I'm speaking more specifically right off the bat to annuities, because annuities have traditionally many variables of riders, whether it's an income rider, a withdrawal feature, a long-term care benefit kind of play, or a death benefit feature, or there's a bunch of different. They create access to your funds in a lot of different ways in annuities for people who have specific concerns. And that's something that could be of value. But you also have to understand what you do own. And so there's a lot of different ways to get money out of an annuity. For instance, you can have withdrawal features in old annuities. You could have annuitization in an old annuity. And you could have income riders in an old annuity. Now, the thing is you could be going to one annuity that has a better income rider versus and a worse annuitization feature. And those are different ways to take money out. And one is a guaranteed feature in one capacity, and one's a guaranteed feature in another capacity. And understanding the intricacies of that stuff is you could be giving up one benefit that you might actually need or a way of accessing money and not be accomplishing that with a new program. You might be not understanding all the ways to access your income is really what I'm saying. And being able to compare that takes probably 2 or 3 phone calls, because I got to tell you, we have staff who will call in to companies. Right, Seth? I mean, they'll call in to get information about some of the riders, and they don't understand everything we know about these things. And they'll come back to me, and I'll say, "Oh, did you ask about this rider? Because I know that investment has this rider." She'll call back, and the person won't even know about the rider. It's crazy, and these companies aren't even aware. Even their internal staff sometimes. I mean, these big call centers, they don't know all the features of all the different products that they've created. It's nuts. So this is a very complicated area, and I don't want to get too deep into it other than to just be the big...
Yeah, we said we're going to be simple here, right?
But I wanted to create enough awareness that there's a big black hole here that buyer beware. You need to understand there's usually always more than one way to get income out of your program. And so you're probably going to want to be able to compare that properly.
So on a wrap on this this little piece here, right, before we take a break, there's the question of, are there fees purely for a 1035 exchange? Okay. And the answer to that simply is no. There are no within 1035 exchange code, there is not something that designates some kind of a fee in that code to go through this process. It really is the policy on one side and the policy on the other that really truly dictate what are those fees for transition. Okay. Well, that's exciting. And we actually have so much more that we can't wait to get to. And it is really a thrilling opportunity as you take a look at what are some of these different opportunities that people have in the future, or what are they looking at currently and transitioning from and to. And it's really a nice place if you're there to take a look. Give us a call at Money on Tap, 855-226-8551, or info@yourmoneyontap.com. We're going to be right back.
Hi, my name is Ben Brayshaw, one of the co-hosts of Money on Tap. If you have questions when it comes to your retirement and are looking for a personalized solution, contact us at Brayshaw Financial Group. In today's volatile stock market, we can help you plan to find your successful retirement solution. Am I saving enough? Am I saving into the right places? Do my investments match my appetite for risk? Do I have a tax strategy that is going to help me keep more of what I earn? How can I maximize my Social Security income? If you are like most people, you are getting closer and closer to your retirement and may be wondering if you're taking the right steps. If you're in retirement, you may be wondering, am I maximizing my income while preserving my estate and caring for my family? We talk about all things financial in what we call three-dimensional investing, putting a plan around your financial future. If you feel that now is the time to start getting the answers to some of these questions for your own situation, give us a call at Brayshaw Financial Group at 855-226-8551. Headquartered in Bedford, New Hampshire, we have offices throughout New England and across the country. We would love the opportunity to show you how we can help. There's absolutely no cost or obligation just to meet with us, and we welcome you to our office. Call us at 855-226-8551.
Now back to Money on Tap with Ben and Seth.
Welcome back. You're listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. Again, my name is Seth Krussman, and sitting across from me here is Ben Brayshaw. He's a little shy sometimes on the mic, but he's ready to go here any second.
Not shy. I'm very...
We've been talking about 1035 exchanges. That's something in the insurance world that allows for a tax-free exchange to happen from one policy to another. And we've been kind of disclosing a lot of the ins and the outs around fees, and what those potentially can look like. What are some of the hang-ups? What are some of the we haven't really talked about the benefits, other than really this is a process that allows for money flow from one place to another without taxing it in that process, which can ultimately be a great way for somebody to trade in that old life insurance policy, that old annuity policy that was great at the time, but maybe there's just too many other things that it's not doing right now that something on the other side could accomplish. So we focus on the goals. We ask ourselves these questions. What do I need this for? What purpose is it serving? And we start to take that conversation from there. So we didn't miss. We just didn't quite have time. We wanted to talk about partial annuity exchanges.
Yeah, I mean, the fact is there's a lot of ways the exchange can occur. And, some people say, well, I've got a huge annuity. It's grown. It's a big number now and so forth. You can actually move part of your annuity out to another annuity. And that's something to look at. With life insurance, you can move part of your cash value out and sometimes even reduce your death benefit to still make it, plausibly functional potentially, and move that cash to something, especially for people who really need. They're like, hey, listen, I don't need life insurance anymore. I need money to retire. That's a really common scenario. Now, we have 5 things here that we want to give you to look for, and I'm going to kind of rattle these off a little bit and talk briefly on them. The first one is that a lot of people buy fixed annuities that look and smell like CDs, as we call them. Like it's a fixed rate of return, it's tax deferred because annuities are tax deferred if they're non-qualified. Well, even qualified are because they're naturally qualified or tax deferred. But with a fixed annuity, you might have a rate of 2 or 3 or 4 or 5%. It could be an old one paying a ridiculously good rate. You got to make sure you're going into an annuity with a better rate, right? I mean, that's kind of obvious. I think everyone knows that. But one thing that people don't really take into account is this piece when you're looking at a new annuity. That's the surrender charge schedule. That's that fee to get out that we talked about earlier where, you're signing up for a whole new schedule, Seth. I mean, it could be something that might be longer than the time horizon in which you need the money. If it's specifically a liquid event, like if you need liquidity and it's a fixed annuity. Or I also know that there's annuities that have income riders that you need to really be careful of because they don't actually start until after a number of years. Could be 3 years or 5 years, and there's features around those. Or maybe the benefit you're looking for isn't even till 10 years out. There's a lot of issues you need to make sure of because if you buy a product that you have to wait 5 or 10 years to start an income feature that you're counting on and you have a health change in the middle of that could be devastating financially, especially if you have to pay that surrender fee to get out to maybe redo things. The third one here we have, and Seth, I'll toss this your way, check the riders that you have, check the riders that you're looking to buy and see if like the guarantee on them is in the range of where you need to be. And that's a big issue.
It is. So what riders? This is one of those terms that we're just so familiar with and able to kind of interchange around the conversation that we're having with you. But what does that mean? Okay, so riders are kind of like these. We're going to go back to the Jalopy, example. You've got this old life insurance policy. You've got this old annuity, and at that time, it was great. It had all the bells and whistles, right? But that's 10, 20 years ago, say. So if you're looking at a vehicle today, how many of those features just come standard with what you're looking at? And how many of these new things are like, well, we've got this nav over here, or we've got this mirror, this camera behind me that I can see everything, and there's all these safeguards, and it's a self-driving car or something like that, right? So there's all these kind of upgrades that you could take a look at, and those are just the features around the package or the tax code of that annuity or life insurance. And so lining those up and seeing, well, are we going to be taking a step down? Because you could. After 20 years, there might have been some really great rider out there that you bought that annuity for that may no longer be available. But the riders could be guaranteed death benefits on those off of, whatever the highest value of the account was, or a guaranteed income benefit, okay, or some kind of a floor on the rate of return with, an opportunity for more market in terms of that income account value as those riders, kind of lock in some or step in and lock in some of these gains on those income account values. Or those are kind of some different ways that these products can work. But if you take a look at that, if you exchange out of that, you could be walking away from something that you've built up that may or may not have a way to offset.
Yeah,
on the rider side.
Seth, you make great points. I mean, really, you got to be really super careful. I mean, we're talking a lot of generalities here, and that's just because there's so many different features out there. But there are so many pieces to these annuities that have so many benefits and features that they're designed for that some people don't realize what they really own could be great. It really could be great. I mean, I tell you, sometimes you're like, they're not the old jalopy you thought you had. Like, you hear about something great and new and everything else, and it's just a different bag of tricks. And insurance companies just trying to lock up your money. So you got to be careful that you're not giving up something that you've already paid for, because the big issue here is you're paying fees in for these annuities. And if you don't realize you're paying for a service and you're buying something from them, and if you get rid of that, all that stuff you bought was just money lost. And so all you get is what you put in plus whatever intrinsic gain that they've credited you. minus any fees to get out. And so that's something you really have to evaluate. Was it worth paying for all that insurance for a certain period of time? And honestly, when it comes to life insurance, you hope that you wasted your money on life insurance and you lived a really long time. I mean, that's kind of the hope, right? So sometimes paying a fee for feeling insured is a good situation, even when it comes to an annuity. The other thing is checking that time horizon, checking in and making sure it meets that. We talked a little bit about that and making sure that your income is in play. And, Seth, you had brought up earlier when we were doing the show discuss on this, which is, your insurability. Seth, I have had people who have done life insurance tests discover that they're very ill, thinking they were quite healthy. I've also had one woman, a very good friend of mine, who had an insurance contract with a large cash value in it. And I was able to find a new insurance product that gave her more death benefit, because that was the only thing she wanted to do, was leave money to the family. And it was a higher death benefit, sacrificing the cash value. But when you usually with cash value, you either get the death benefit or the cash value. You don't get both. And so this was her goal. And less than 2 years later, she passed away. And it was a very sad time for me. And but she didn't discover it from that. But there's obviously she got insured. So, but health changes happen suddenly and unexpectedly. That's just the way they come, and it's something to be aware of.
So before we get going here, folks, I know that there's some of you that have got your pen and paper handy, and you can't wait to get the checklist. You need that checklist, so I've got it here for you. Here's some steps of the 1035 process. Number one, decide if it makes sense for a 1035 of your existing policy. 2, choose a policy to 1035 into. 3, contact the insurer that holds your existing policy so you understand their paperwork requirements. There will be paperwork, loads of paperwork. Fill out. And then number 4, fill out and submit the application for the new annuity, including 1035 transfer request form. And then there is number 5, the issue of that new contract. So information that you're going to want to grab to send over to Ben and I so we can take a look at this with you is, number 1, the name of the product and insurance company. This will help us track down any additional information. Then there's the surrender fee schedule that we talked about. Help us determine if this makes sense. There's the cash value or account value, depending on the type of policy you have. Any riders or annuitization options that you know about in the contract policy number or any recent statements. That's a good start for you folks. Okay. And certainly it's what we're here to do. We're here to help. And you grab that information, give us a call here at Money on Tap at 855-226-8551 and talk to Ben or myself. And we'll help you understand the landscape around the decision that's so important for you to make in any kind of a trade-in on that policy.
Yeah, this is a great piece to one of the legs of the stool, which is so part of everyone's life. No one wants to talk about insurance or any version of it, but it is truly a critical part to planning. Thanks, Seth.
Thank you. You've been listening to Money on Tap. You can reach us at 855-226-8551 or info@yourmoneyontap.com. You can also find us at Facebook. We're at /3D Investing. We're also on Twitter at BFG_LLC. And as always, you can also find us at yourmoneyontap.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for liking our podcast. We appreciate you, and we can't wait to make it a great day and a great life with you here at Money on Tap.
The views expressed are not necessarily the opinion of this radio station and should not be construed directly or indirectly as an offer to buy or sell any securities mentioned herein. Investing is subject to risks, including loss of principal invested. No strategy, product, material, or tool mentioned can assure a profit nor protect against loss. Please note that individual situations can vary. Therefore, the information, products, materials, or tools mentioned should be relied upon when coordinated with individual professional advice. Past performance is not a guarantee of future results. results. This show may be subsidized in whole or in part by a product sponsor or issuer. Securities and advisory services offered through SagePoint Financial Incorporated, member FINRA SIPC, and a registered investment advisor. All other services offered through Brayshaw Financial Group LLC are independent of SagePoint Financial. SagePoint Financial and Brayshaw Financial Group do not provide tax or legal advice. Main office is located at 116 South River Road, Bedford, New Hampshire, 03110, and can be reached at toll-free 855-226-8551.
Well, bye.